Uh, uh,
Da.
you are watching the number one podcast in the whole YouTube wrestling community, and I'm one of your hosts, Juan.
And I'm your other host, Jean Paul Leek.
And together we are Rob
Rope
Ray.
break.
And tonight, family, like every other Wednesday, we're going to be covering AEW Dynamite. A lot better show than what we got last week, Jean Paul. It was a lot easier to watch. A lot of good things happened during this show. So whatever happens last week is completely forgotten. So we're going to just focus on this week on AEW. So your thoughts on that very quick?
Yeah, I mean, this again, the previous couple weeks where, maybe not the greatest shows what we're used to. This week definitely delivered. The final two matches, or the semifinal matches, you could say, in the TNT tournament were very good. We got the winners who we kind of predicted all along, but the matches still, were really good. And I think from probably like the 8:30 time, till the end of the show went by really quick, which is always a sign of a really good show.
Exactly. So we're going to go right to the show. Before we that, only we're going to say thank you to every single one of you that is watching our videos. Don't forget to check out the Jean Paul Wrestling Hall. Excellent video, America theme right there. And also I have a video on whatever happens on Impact Wrestling Rebellion Day 2 results. So Jean Paul AEW Dynamite opened up with like Cody Rhodes going against Darby Allin, and Brandy Rose was right by Cody's side. A really great match. Like you said to me, probably the best match that they had aside of the draw that they had. So
Yeah,
like this
definitely.
top like the match that they have on January 1st, 2020 when they had that show in Jacksonville. And the right man wins just because we knew that he needed to win to have the storyline along Lance Archer. So
Yeah. Again, like you said, the right man won. It was a storyline. Two great video packages in the beginning of this thing, or I guess one, but one for each guy. Hyping up this match, really cool stuff. These guys have a lot of great chemistry together. They know each other well. There's like a respect, but also a rivalry going on there. And this match, like Juan said, it wasn't as good as their draw, but it was definitely a great match, and it was worthy, I think, of this spot being in the semifinals.
yes, absolutely. Like you said to me, Cody like stole Darby's finisher, and Darby did the same thing with Cody, so they kept it a little bit old school. So those things to me, to see that, you can tell that they're putting a lot of effort in the matches. The delivery was great. Brandy was even used. She was taken out right in the beginning of the match. And also like Britt Baker in a heel move, used one of her shoes to like beat Cody. I don't know what was that about, but at least, they use different things. So that's always
Exactly.
something enjoyable to see. So let's go over some spots. Like Darby takes the water from Brandy, and then she hits Cody with it, and then he hits a springboard, but Cody catches him for the ripcord lariat. Then Cody swings for another clothesline, but Darby counters with a float over stunner. Then Darby attempts a springboard, but Cody catches him and hits the crossroads for a near fall. So this, like you said to me, they're kind of like Cody needs to go for another finisher just because the crossroads is just a finisher that everybody's just kicking out of. He needs to
Yeah.
start looking for a deadly move, something that is going to put people away. And then Cody attempts the coffin drop, but Darby gets his knees up, and then Allen goes to the top, and then he hits the coffin drop of his own, but Cody turns over, and then he pins Darby. So showing how much of a veteran Cody Rhodes is in the ring, that's pretty much the way that he was able to win over Darby.
Yeah, and like I said, they try to book it where it's like Darby technically would have had him beat, but Cody used his smarts, his savvy. He kind of like turned Darby over. Darby thought he had the pin, but it was actually Cody who had him rolled up. 1, 2, 3. Like I said, they try to keep Darby looking strong, but in the end, Cody still wins. But it was a good opening match.
It was like it gave us like the energy, like this Dynamite, the feeling of it was a lot different from the one that we had last week. Mainly, like we were saying, just because they probably thought it's the last time, the last tape show that we're going to do. So like, hey, let's do this. We are excited. Let's get the hell out of here. So we get a video package from MJF. MJF is saying that finally his hand is magically healed, so he's good to go. But no, he actually had a cut while shaving his neck. So he's wearing a neck brace. So he said like he won't be able to be with his peers, he won't be able to be with the crowd, but there's like, oh, well, there's no crowd, but the few peers that are going to be noticing me. So next time he promises that he's going to be back in the ring. He's going to be back, like you said, probably traveling issues. So he's trying to remain himself current and in everybody's eyes, in the audience's eyes, just by cutting these kind of promos that reminded you of who?
Yeah, like I said, I was watching the Ruthless Aggression, so it made me think when Randy Orton hurt his neck early in his career, and he'd give updates how his neck was doing. This was kind of the same thing. It helped that he mentioned his neck, and it made me think of it. But like you said, he's got to stay relevant. MJF can't. He's not one of those guys who, and he can. He's popular enough, but they don't want him to kind of fade away in obscurity. They want to keep him hot, keep him popular. This is a way to do it. But I think his best promo work is in front of a live crowd. So this isn't his best work, but it's not bad stuff. It's still keeping him relevant. Still giving him TV time, which is all you can ask for.
Exactly. I think MJF, the best way that you can get the best of MJF is just with people, because he's able to interact and come up with things on the spot, but you need people. If there's, no people and then it's just MJF, he's not the same. The ability is not the same right there. Jean Paul, we have Wardlow against Musa. So another enhancement talent for him is just, they're building Wardlow. They need to give him wins. They need to make us believe that this guy is somebody. Because, after the Cody match, he put out a really great match, but in the end he lost. So you go back to the line. And, and that's why Musa, enhancement talent, Wardlow won really quickly, like the airplane spin, dominated the whole time, took the strads off, throws them up in the air, hits hard, 1, 2, 3, Wardlow wins. What do you think?
Yeah, like you said, there's really nothing else that needs to be said. The guy needed a win. You need to get him some momentum. Lots of big guys on AEW. You don't want him to get lost in the shuffle, just be considered, MJF's bodyguard. No, you got to present Wardlow in a legit manner. And, but let's see him get a win over somebody who's actually legit. Like we say, somebody who's actually has a signed AEW contract. Let's see these guys get wins over people like that. Then I'll be like, oh, okay. Then I'll start believing in you.
That's true. These guys are like somebody. That way I can actually get behind you. Unfortunately, it's not happened yet, but we go to like a segment of the Bubbly Bunch. Really good segment this time, just because like they put out something different. Jericho is talking to all the guys from like the inner circle, and he's saying, well, we're gonna do like a tournament this time or something. So they starts like a kicking competition, or like just a punching competition, or just a match. And the one that started was Sammy Guevara, and then he starts hitting, and then he goes to Santana, Ortiz, Jay Hager, and then it took us to a lot of people, right? Who did
a
you
lot of
remember?
like a lot of celebrities, kind of comedians, actors, whoever. Jay and Silent Bob, or Kevin Smith, Lou Ferrigno. Who else was there?
Iglesias.
Yeah, Gabriel Iglesias, and he said Corey Taylor.
Corey Taylor was there, so like there was a lot
Yeah,
of people that.
Soul Train Jones, and then
Or Virgil, yes,
yep,
like
and then it ended with Vicky Guerrero, which that was a cool spot. She kind of like slapped herself in the face almost, and then she was like, "What?" It wasn't excuse me.
are
What did
you
she say?
kidding me?
Yeah,
Are you
yeah.
kidding me? Really? Ah! And then Jericho's like, oh no, shut up. Like, no, stop it. And then he watches at the dog and he's like, oh, that was really great. That was freaking awesome. So that was cool. So good stuff on that. Really great stuff. I will say like this a lot better again from the past 2 weeks. Like we
Yeah.
mentioned this, the energy was probably not the same. The guys just wanted to get the shows over with.
Yeah,
This
and I
time they
and I
gave us something
understand.
better.
Like, to me, you should present the inner circle should be presented the way that they were presented when we had a live crowd. I understand things are different, and a lot of people find enjoyment in this. They find all the Bubbly Bunch stuff funny, so that's why they're kind of changing the character direction, I guess you could say, a little bit for the inner circle. But out of all the Bubbly Bunch segments, I think this one was probably the best one.
Absolutely. I agree with you 100%. We got another video package for Scorpio Sky. Now, Jeff Hardy, they're trying to do the same thing with Jeff Hardy and Kid Lee. I don't know why they keep doing these video packages just to hype them up. So he was saying that he got the title match with Jericho, and we all remember that. And he's like, I felt great. I thank you to like SEU. I'm in the main event. I really enjoyed that, but it's like I don't want to be good. I don't want to be the best. It's like I want to be a fucking legend. So that's what like Scorpio Sky ended up saying. Did you like the video package?
Like we said, it's okay. It's like, to me, it's completely random. It was just like, okay, NXT's doing one on Keith Lee, and even talking about the same thing, like, oh, like I was homeless, I didn't know what my future was, I didn't know, all this stuff. And then it's like Jeff Hardy video package, I didn't know what my future was going to be. And then they're all like in the same vein. And then it's like, oh, AEW's doing one on Scorpio Sky, and it's like, it's not bad, but when you see somebody else did it first and is doing it so recently, and then you start doing it, it just kind of, Makes you
Is
think a
this
little
like
bit.
a copyright? Anyway, Jean Paul, best friends with Orange Cassidy, freshly squeezed, going against Jimmy Havoc and Keith Sabian with Penelope Ford. Absolutely the best match for me, just because there was a lot of action. It was a no rules match, so of course we got to see toys, chairs, trash cans, ladder. Everything was on the line. They used it everything, and they used it to the best of their advantage. That is something that I absolutely enjoy. And the best friends, like I said to you, they should receive I would say an AEW Tag Team Championship match just because of all the work that they've done in the past couple of weeks. They've been
Oh yeah,
winning,
and
they've been showing up, so I really think that they deserve a chance.
I agree with you 100%. I think that they will get their title shot at is it Double or Nothing?
Double or nothing,
Double
yes.
or Nothing. Yep, I think they'll be on May 23rd. I think they'll be getting that title shot. I don't see any other tag team that deserves it just because there's no other tag teams really on the show. But even if there was the Lucha Bros and all them, I still think the Best Friends deserve it from everything that they've done. Ever since AEW started, and especially right now during the quarantine times, because they're like the one tag team that you said that's been here each and every single week
Yes.
since these empty arena shows have started. And this match, as great as the main event was and as much as I liked it, if you're just going from in ring, everything that happened, this was definitely the match of the night.
It
And like
was.
you said, all using the chairs, using everything else. You had Penelope Ford's involvement. No rules meant involvement in toys and all that stuff was legal. You didn't have to be sneaky about it. So it was
It
all
was
really
really
good
good.
stuff.
They used the pile driver, so that was really interesting also because we get to see
Mm.
at least the pile driver is not banned on AEW. There was a time that they were about to do Concerto against Habit, but they ended up throwing chairs. Orange Cassidy came out in support. Also, like Penelope Ford was going to be in the action, but Cassidy it turned out to be helping the Fred's friends because Penelope Ford ended up spearing Keith Sabian, and then Cassidy jumped to the top rope, and then he dove into Penelope Ford and Keith Sabian, and then at the end of the match, then Chuck grabs Havoc and then he hits a running pile driver for the win onto a chair. So that's why Jericho's like, don't do that, don't do that. Boom, 1, 2, 3, best friends get the win. Absolutely great match. They're like, these guys, again, even Havoc didn't look bad this time. If
No.
you present Havoc like this, okay,
Mhm.
I'm good.
But see, that's the thing. Like I said, Jimmy Havoc. Like if it's just a singles match, clean, he's gonna struggle a little bit. He's not bad, but this is the matches he thrives in, where he can do some wrestling moves, but then he can also rely on the toys. You can also do all this other stuff. That's where this guy thrives, and that's why in matches like tonight, you go, "Oh, this is something I can, I don't mind seeing this guy wrestle."
Exactly, and then that's the one thing. We will want if we're gonna keep seeing Havoc, which I don't know, we're gonna be seeing him because next week is gonna be live and everybody else is gonna be back. I don't know how much of Jimmy Havoc we're gonna see, but this should be the way that you got to portray this guy. Talking
Mm.
about good ways of portraying people, we get to see a video package from Beat Breaker. She's going back to the how to be a role model and everything, and this time she's talking to one of the girls that does her makeup. She calls him Rabel or Rabel, and then she says, "Oh, my name is Rebel." But she goes make sure that you said Dr. Britt Baker. I'm not one of is don't be calling me Britt or anything like that. And then she goes over the rules of how to be a role model and then walk me through them.
Yeah, well, then she's flipping through the stuff, and I think she is because it is a big notepad. When she flips the first page, the first thing says "follow me on Twitter at Britt Baker," whatever. She's like, "Oh, I don't know how that got here." Flips that, and then it's rule number 1, don't wear glasses unless you're a doctor. She's like, unless you're a doctor, someone who's actually legit, don't wear glasses. You look like a nerd, but you're actually dumb. Stop pretending to be smart. Showed a picture of Tony Schiavone, and then it was don't be fat. She's like, if you're gonna get your picture taken, suck in the gut, this and that. I don't know if she's trying to take a shot at Otis, but instead we saw a picture of Tony Schiavone again. And he looked like his gut was photoshopped. I
Yes,
don't
and
think
then
I don't think his I don't think his gut's that big.
and then
And then it was she's like also have nice teeth because it
yes.
showed that Tony Schiavone had a Photoshop snaggle tooth.
Mhm.
So it was Tony was her friend and he was infatuated, you could say, with her, and he was getting her over on commentary, and then she buries him here. So then he's all hurt. He's like, I think that tooth was photoshopped. I think that was a gimmick. He's like, I don't know what that was. That's not real. So he was all kind of upset. And like I said, Britt Baker, I think her heel work, promo wise and even wrestling ability, I think has all been getting better these past couple weeks, couple months, especially. So I didn't mind this at all.
Oh yeah,
I thought this was a pretty good segment by her.
nicely done. And Britt Baker is getting a little bit like,
Is good heel heat.
well, there you go. Yeah, it's good heat. It's like, okay, at least I hate her, but at least she's entertained.
Mm.
She's entertained. She at least made me feel like I was laughing a little bit with some of the stuff that she was saying. So that's this kind of stuff that I really enjoy from Britt Baker. Is she going to be able to do the same thing with a live audience? I don't think so. So the video packages are really hyping her up. Because of the division, we haven't even seen Statlander. We haven't seen Hikaru Shida. We haven't seen Nyla Rose. We haven't seen any other girl from the women's division. So hopefully this upcoming week, we get to see a lot of those names back.
Mm.
So, Jean-Paul, Sean Spears against Baron Corbin. No, Baron Black. Another enhancement talent for Sean Spears. He needs this kind of wins because, of course, he was buried by Cody with like the last match that he had.
Didn't we say the same thing about the last person who was just in a squash match who they got buried by Cody? Wardlow? And to me, it's the same thing. Now, Sean Spears isn't in the same category as a Wardlow for a big, powerful, muscular guy. But I'm going to say the same thing as he needs to get wins against people who are, actually employed on AEW, not enhancement talents. He needs to get wins over guys like, Joey Janela, guys like that, maybe who, hey, because somebody's got to lose at the end of the day. But, like, you got to push something. Don't present a guy like he's legit, but then he always loses. And that's kind of what Sean Spears was. We see him get wins over enhancement talent. That really doesn't raise his stock, in my opinion, and I feel in a lot of other people's opinion that much.
Yeah, it is true. Like, it doesn't do a lot for him. So, like, he went to against this enhancement talent, so he hit a suplex, and then he goes for, like, a second one, but Black lands on his feet, and then he chops Spears for a few times, then Black runs at Spears and gets dropped with a big boot, and then Spears hits the C4, and then applies a sharpshooter, and then he gets the win. Well, like, he gets a submission win. He was looking all pissed off and everything. Hopefully, like the same thing, like you said, we mentioned about Wardlow. If he wins against somebody that is meaningful, I'll be like, okay, he's getting pushed. But if he gets just winning against like enhancement talent, to me, you're not doing anything spectacular. You're just doing something that you're supposed to do. Because if you lose to these guys, then you're more than buried. You're dead.
Oh, yeah.
So after that, then we get to see a little bit of a video package from Marco Stunt. Marco Stunt is going against the Exalted One, Vince McMahon wannabe, Mr. Brody Lee. And he's saying that he's going to give his all. He's going to try to like pin Brody Lee. He said, I don't care how tall he is, but a lot of people say that I don't belong here, and I'm going to prove you wrong. So that's the match that we get. Brody Lee against Marco Stunt. Walk me through it. Was it the right decision? Which I happen to think it was.
Yeah, I think it was. I mean, he pretty much threw him around like a rag doll. It was like this was a one-sided fight. You know what I mean? This was like an infant versus, Muhammad Ali. Like, this was not going to go down in Marco Stunt's favor. Threw him around. He did that's like spinning sidewalk slam, whatever you want to call it. He hit that, and then he did the sit-out power bomb, and it was done.
Yeah.
It was just yeah.
And like you said, you love that move. I enjoy that move. He hits that perfectly. If you ask me, that should be his finisher, the slam. Mm-hmm. It shouldn't be the powerbomb. It should be just the slam. Caught him, boom. As that's all there is to be. Like, okay, same thing with Brody Lee. And we're not being repetitive, but it's just like you're giving me outcomes that are really predictable.
Yeah, especially when you kind of do this video package to make me think that there's going to be a story. But then the way it ended, and he just threw Stunt to the side, and it was like he just pretty much just discarded his corpse. Like, get out of here! Like, I don't need you anymore. There was not like, oh, I beat you. Now I'm gonna drag you away. And it's not like he beat him and he put a mask over his head and then dragged him up the ramp. Because then to me that would have been like, well, is Marco Stunt gonna come out with him next week? What are we gonna see? And it adds intrigue. It was just, he beat the guy. Okay. Whatever. Maybe we'll see Luchasaurus beat the Exalted One when things go back to normal, and then the Exalted One will be dead.
It wouldn't be surprising, to be honest with you. It will not surprise me, but for now, at least Brody Lee gets a win, so that's important for Brody Lee. We get a video package from Jon Moxley. He's in the desert, so he says that it's incredible that it was only like 8 weeks ago that he won the AEW World Heavyweight Championship in front of fans, and since then, the whole world has really changed. He promises that one day he'll be bleeding and swearing in front of fans again. But in the meantime, there's a lot to be thankful for. Of course, he's thankful about his wife. Who wouldn't be thankful if you're married to Renee Young? And then he says also he's thankful for the steel chairs, and also that AEW will be live next week. So see, that's why like maybe a lot of names that we haven't heard in weeks they will be back for this show. So he says that like he has a target on the shoulders because of Double or Nothing, and he's waiting for somebody to step up. And then he says something about the grandmother.
Yeah, and he's like, all this stuff. He's like, and don't forget to call your grandmother. So, like, he had some badass stuff to say, but he also had some funny stuff to say. Like he said, yeah, he was like, I'm going to take, old Platinum here. He's like, me and the dogs, we're going to hop in the truck. We're going to drive down, So he's kind of like bleeding his real life, and all this stuff. It was
Metallica music and
yeah,
all
he's
that.
like, I'm going to throw in some Metallica CDs in the truck, which, I popped for that. That was legit. So, really good promo here by Moxley. Again, humor, badass. And, Moxley's so good. It's good to see this side of him versus what we saw in WWE.
Oh, yeah.
And it's hard to say, like, who, you and I are kind of talking back and forth. The only person we could really see is maybe an MJF. He comes back for this, unless they bring really everyone back. But even with a full roster, who is the number one contender to challenge Moxley?
Exactly. So that's why, like, for you and me, it made a lot of more sense to just put MJF because he's a heel and he is the only one that, like, has really gotten any kind of contact or any kind of, like, animosity towards Moxley.
Mm-hmm.
So it makes the perfect number one contender. Just because Jericho's done, you're not gonna repeat Jericho and Moxley, and also you're not gonna do Jay Hager.
Yeah.
So who's there? Who's next? Unless you do a miraculously Adam Hangman Page, is not going to happen because Adam Hangman Page is going to be with Kenny Omega defending those tag titles, probably to the best friends, like we mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
So, Jean-Paul, it's extremely great stuff. We go to the main event, TNA Championship Tournament. Lars Archer going against Dustin Rhodes. I will say extremely great match. Like you mentioned to me, Dustin Rhodes was probably one of his best matches on AEW Dynamite TV. Very similar in quality, in outcome, in performance to the one like it was all out with Cody Rhodes.
Yeah, definitely. Now this was because that was a pay-per-view technically, so this was, I would say, his best TV match that he's had with AEW. Really fantastic stuff. Same thing with Lance Archer. Best match that he's had. We saw his athleticism and all the stuff he could do. He's not just going in there squashing people with the blackout and done. All like the choke slams and all just and like I said, really athletic. Walking the tightrope, almost walked from one end to the other and did a moonsault all while holding on to Dustin's arm. We saw the Shattered Dreams from Dustin, which I know you popped for. I
love it.
Well. Really legit stuff. And, they gave this match time. They had at least 20, 25 minutes to really wrestle, tell a story. And that's what you want. You hate when WWE hypes a match and you get to the main event and there's 7 minutes left.
Yes.
And the guys didn't even make their entrances. And it's like, oh, what are we going to get? A 4-minute match?
10:55, you're getting the main event.
Yeah, so like this was actually a legit, they gave these guys time. And, besides maybe a little bit of interference that kind of, because the match had good momentum, there was blood, there was, there was some toys involved a little bit, a little bit, let's pull off the turnbuckle pad, let's do this. Audrey Edwards, she's always legit. She lets them wrestle. But the ending, it just, maybe with the Rhodes family coming out, that was really my only gripe.
Yeah, like they came out towards the end because like pretty much like Dustin is bleeding, so you could see like his energy is going low and low, and then like Lance Archer kept taking advantage of that. He did a one choke slam, he kicked out and everything, but at some point Lance Archer gets the advantage and he's like slamming Dustin, and then we get to see Cody and QT Marshall going there. And QT Marshall comes in with the towel, and then she's like, he's about to throw the towel, but Cody's like, hold on, he's not done. Wait, hold on, he's not done. But then he's like, well, he's about to throw it, and then I think like they end up throwing the towel, but then Lars Archer grabs the towel, and then he throws it down.
Oh, yeah, like Dustin grabs the towel from Cody. Like he's pretty much, I mean, you don't actually hear what he's saying, but he's probably like, don't you dare throw this thing in. It's not done till it's done.
Bullshit.
Yeah. And then, so Dustin's holding on to the towel. Lance pulls him back in, grabs the towel from Dustin, throws it out, like, get this bullshit out of here. Grabs him by his head, slams his head repeatedly on the mat, pretty much just puts his leg over Dustin's shoulders, just kind of like kneeling on him with one leg. 1, 2, 3, this thing is done. But like even before this, Dustin looked real good. He was kicking out of choke slams, and he actually almost got a roll-up pin attempt. So Dustin looked good in this match. And if this was indeed his final match, like I said, you could have maybe picked a better opponent for a story. But for a performance in the ring, this was definitely one of his best matches to go out on.
I would really agree to that. Then we also got to see Dustin hit the crossroads, which
Mm-hmm.
Lance didn't sell it at all. Didn't
Mm-hmm.
sell it because he kicked out at one. Jericho, you could hear him. Oh, I want him in the inner circle. I'm gonna call the snake because like a guy like that, the dominance, like I need him in the inner circle. But if he doesn't join the inner circle, what are they gonna do?
Yeah, he's like, we're gonna take him out at the knees. I like that because Jericho, he's smart. He's like, we want him in the inner circle, and he didn't just leave it at that. He's like, and if he doesn't join, we're taking him out because he still wants
Exactly.
the inner circle to still be the dominant group.
And the one thing that you said that it was really important. So Lance wins the match, 1, 2, 3. He advances. The final is going to be Cody against Lance, but Cody gets in the ring, and instead of going right to against Lance, he actually checks on Dustin. He checks on
Yeah.
his brother, so that humanizes Cody a lot. He's like, "Hey, I don't care about my match. That can
Mm-hmm.
wait for next week, whatever they have the match. But I'm gonna worry about my brother, his condition, whether he's okay. So like QT and also like Brandy, they're all checking on him, and then they also like exchange like like views, and it's like, okay, it's gonna happen, but not now. So I think that like overall, like you said, it was
Like
a pretty good Dynamite.
how
Yeah,
he
tell me.
Yeah, I liked how he wasn't like you said, he wasn't, oh, let me get up in Lance Archer's face and start punch him, and then we brawl, and then maybe Cody gets the upper hand, and then Lance looks like a loser. No, Cody, like you said, the only thing he cared about was his brother. It was like, hey, we'll have our match, but like it humanizes him, and it just shows that it's like, Lance Archer was so dominating, he didn't even need to hit his finishing move, you could say, to even win this match.
Oh yeah, exactly. Like so, and see that they did two things before we go. It was like they did Taz did a beautiful piece analyzing like the blackout. Lars Archer like finisher, how he puts the opponent over like 9 feet from the ground. He was analyzing step by step. So how they do that, it makes it legitimizes the sport. It makes
Mm-hmm.
it more sports like feel like rather
Oh,
than any
definitely.
other show that we've seen in WWE. And like you said, it was really important that like you didn't finish it in a brawl because we mentioned this before. WWE happens to have this bad habit that you give the match a little bit of it in a tag match instead of like
Mm-hmm.
having these guys as far as they can from each other. So that's the one thing that like AEW at least is doing is creating that intrigue. It's like you want to see these guys go at it, but like see they were this close, but at the same time they didn't go against each other. So that's important
Exactly.
when it comes to that. And also like we're gonna get Le Champion and Sammy Guevara, the Spanish gods, or the sexy gods.
Yeah, Les Sex Gods.
The
Yep.
sex gods going against Matt Hardy and Kenny Omega next week. How
And
do I
that and
feel
that's in
about
a that's
this?
in a street fight. So that again is also going to be no rules. So I'm looking forward to that. I think it'll be good. We actually get to see Matt Hardy wrestle, so that should be good as well. Like next week's going to be a loaded show for AEW and for NXT. So it's going to be Wednesday this Wednesday night was good from what I saw from NXT. It looked like a good show, but I think next week is really gonna kind of be getting us back into the old ways of Wednesday being a really dominant night for pro wrestling.
You're absolutely right. So, like, thank you so very much, Rubik family, for checking every single one of our videos. We're so thankful to every single one of you for giving us an opportunity to be part of your family because you are part of our family. So, where they can find us on the social media world.
We have the original rope break on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. So, of course, you want to follow us on there. And then the OG rope break on Twitter. And, follow us on there for everything. We have there's rumors going around. Is WWE going to sell themselves to ESPN? All that stuff. Who knows? But, who does know? Rope break. And as soon as we do know, we'll be posting it all over social media.
Absolutely
So
right.
make
And
sure
like
you follow us.
And like Jean Paul always says, for the meat and potatoes, for your main course, you just come here on YouTube and you check every single one of our reviews. Every single show in wrestling, we cover it. Every single one of them. You name it. WWE, AEW, Impact, New Japan, all of them are covered. So I think, Jean Paul, you and me have one more thing left to say. And that is...